Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Most Merciful. How does God's reward system work? Is it that He only rewards people with piety and righteousness in the hereafter and does not reward them in this life? And is it that people that don't have belief are rewarded in this life and not rewarded in the next? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of His formula through the story of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, the 12th chapter of the Holy Quran. Today we have reached the ayah number 57, where He says in 56 that we bestow our mercy upon Yusuf. We made his governance upon this earth convenient, and that's how we recognize the work of the good doers. And we do not forget وَلَا نُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and we're not forgetful or neglectful towards the deeds and the actions of the muhsineen. And then He talks about the hereafter. وَلَأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ.
وَلَأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ.
And the reward for those who have iman, وَلَأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, the reward in the hereafter is greater. وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ, and they also had piety, not just faith. So scholars are under the opinion that, first group of scholars are under the opinion that in this world God repays whoever does anything good. Whether they are good, whether they are pious, whether they're righteous, whether they're believers or not. In this world, if you do good, you shall see good. In the hereafter, it depends on your intention. Was your intention to be godly in what you did? God will reward you. If your intention had nothing to do with God, then they say, God says, well, your reward has nothing to do with me. However, if you look at this verse says those who had piety and did this for the sake of God will have a greater reward in the hereafter than the one that they saw here. It doesn't really say, and others will not be rewarded, or this is the only condition for people to be rewarded in the hereafter. And I also want to talk about how God encourages us and gives us hope and makes an eminent promise for us in terms of when we do tawakkul upon Him, when we have faith in Him. And I want you to go to Surah At-Talaq. Surah At-Talaq is chapter 65 of the Holy Quran, verse number 2. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ يُوعَظُ بِهِ مَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. This ayah of Surah At-Talaq, verse number 2 and 3, is indeed an ayah that is meant to be read, that is meant to be often repeated for those who go through financial difficulties, for those who see difficulties in life. It's an ayah that says Allah has the power, Allah has the ability. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best planner, and those وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, and whoever has faith in Allah, whoever puts their trust in Allah, فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ, Allah will take care of him. Allah will not abandon him. Right now, if you have a pet and you take care of that pet, the pet will not abandon you, and vice versa. That's a relationship between a master and a pet. If you have a very loyal employee and you're loyal and kind, they will not abandon you. And similarly, if the employee is a good employee, they've been working in your farm for 30, 40 years, you're not going to abandon them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, if you have your faith in me, if you have been my companion, and I have been your companion throughout the tough times, and you believe in me and you pray to me, فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ. Allah is the last decision maker, the only decision maker. Allah is the one that decides how things are going to unfold. قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a limit on everything. There is no injustice that's going to take forever. There is no poverty that's going to last forever. There is no illness that's going to last forever. There is no depression that's going to last forever. And similarly, there is no joy and sadness and the wealthiest person on the face of the earth that's going to live forever. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and I want you to read Dua al-Sabah by Imam Ali, Amir al-Mu'mineen, even if you're not a Shia, even if you are not a Muslim, go and read how mesmerizing it is. That you are the one that bestows governance. You are the ones that bestows pride. You are the one that bestows dignity. You are the one that bestows honor. Because that honor is real. That wealth is real. That knowledge is real. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Yusuf and the likes of Yusuf and the believers that if you have tawakkul, if you trust in me, I will not disappoint you. I am capable. I hear and I see everything. Then there's a beautiful transition. What is the transition? And the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ.
وجاء إخوة يوسف فدخلوا عليه فعرفهم وهم له منكرون.
And the brothers of Yusuf, they came into Egypt. Remember? They traveled from Canaan, they got into Egypt. They were the sons of a prophet. فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ. They entered onto his chambers. فَعَرَفَهُمْ. He recognized them right away. وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. And they did not know him. Now, what does this mean? This could mean that he purposely gave his back to them when he spoke to them. He purposely spoke to them from another room. He may have, covered his face. Or some Mufassirin say, no, Yusuf, he left when he was a little boy. Now he's a king. Now he looks different. And they never expected the brother they tried to kill and get rid of is now sitting at the most powerful throne in the world. And they're there to beg him. So they came with their products. And Yusuf knows that they're trying to make money. And Yusuf knows that they're going back to a village. Yusuf knows that their father is now older. And there is a lot of kids and a lot of grandkids. So he does that with his wisdom, which is going to turn things around for him. But because of his big heart, because of his wisdom, if he was somebody who was not far-sighted, he would have taken them, he would have put them in prison, he would have punished them, he would have confronted them. But Yusuf is much bigger than that. Yusuf, God has a big plan for him, and he wants to see that big plan unfold. And you cannot think small or act small when you're trying to allow God's plan to execute in you becoming his vicegerent on the face of the earth, his representative on the face of the earth, or the representative of his saints on the face of the earth. Next, we will talk about how the plan unfolded, which led to the reunion of the children of the offsprings of Ibrahim through Ishaq and Yaqub and the brothers of Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum.